Hey there, welcome to the Bountiful Bridge podcast, episode 1. I'm so happy that you're here and you're joining me. I'm Bridgette. I'm a Midwest mom raising 3 teenage girls and navigating all of the chaos and the beauty that goes along with it. I'm a business owner and I'm also a published fiction author. And here on the podcast, we dive into life's messy, meaningful moments. Parenting, relationships, business, all of it. Usually with a side of laughter, sometimes with a glass of wine. So go ahead, grab your favorite drink, and let's hang out for a while. So you might be wondering why I'm here. Well, we'll unpack that more as the podcasts unfold. But for today, let's just start with where this all comes from. So honestly, my inspiration is my life, plain and simple. I'm busy, really busy. I'm sure you can all relate. Raising 3 teenagers and caring for an aging parent, running my own marketing business is a lot, right? And I know I'm not the only one that's juggling all the things. A lot of us are just trying to make it through the day, figuring things out, and somewhere along the way we stop and think, another year has gone by, and what have I actually taken away from it? That I want to ask myself. Am I truly living? Am I pursuing my dreams? Am I catching the lessons that life is handing me? Because they're always there. Sometimes they're right in front of us, and sometimes we don't see them until they've already passed. So here's what you can expect from this space. Sometimes we'll chat about business, marketing, strategy, budgets. Other times we'll dive into the personal stories, those moments that make us stop and reflect. But no matter what, there's always going to be something to take with you. A little inspiration, a life lesson, or simply a reminder that you're not doing this alone. Because at the end of the day, this podcast is about connection, about being relatable, whether it's work or life. I want you to feel like you're sitting right here with me, nodding along, maybe laughing with me. Now, I'm also going to be real with you. We are living in heavy times. Every day brings headlines that are really overwhelming. I feel it too. And while this podcast isn't going to ignore what's happening, it is about offering some breathing room, a space where we can process life, but also find some light and some laughter in the middle of it all. So if you're here, know this is a safe space, always. I want you to be seen, heard, understood, because I know how rare that can be sometimes. So here's the plan. I've written a lot over the years on my blog, Bountiful Bridge, and I'm excited to bring some of those stories and reflections to life here in my own voice, my own tone, my own inflection, emotion, so that you can really experience the what I was feeling behind those words. And that's what I love about podcasts. You don't just hear the words, you feel them. So that's what we're going to do. Before we dive into today's podcast, I want to take a moment to share something that's very close to my heart. My debut novel, The Glass House. It's a story about Emma, a woman who's on a journey not just to find love, but to discover herself. The story begins on the rugged, breathtaking coast of Oregon. I used to live there, a little inside note, where Emma is searching for clarity, connection, and maybe even healing. But as life often does, her journey takes an unexpected turn, sweeping her all the way to the fast-paced streets of New York City. The Glass House is an engaging, passionate love story filled with heart, adventure, and just a touch of suspense if you keep turning the pages. It's about love, yes, but also resilience, self-discovery, and the sometimes messy path we walk to figure out who we really are. You can find The Glass House right now on Amazon or grab a copy directly from my website at bountifulbridge.com. I have about I'm looking at them right now, about 25 original print copies that if you purchase from my website, I will hand sign them and ship them out to you myself. So I hope you are intrigued enough to explore the glass house. It really was a passion project of mine, and I enjoyed every moment of it. All right. So now that you're in the loop about the book, let's jump into today's episode. Today, I'm taking you back to one of my blog posts that I wrote in July 2024. And even though it's been several months, it still feels just as relevant now as it did then. The title of this essay is called The Billboard. So I'm going to read that to you now. Billboards are everywhere, from big cities to rural highways. Typically, you can't miss them. If the billboard's creative is impactful and effective, we will instantly know what message it is trying to communicate. McDonald's is a prime example of this. Their logo is so instantly recognizable that the viewer can immediately grasp the secondary message, such as value item or featured item. Law firms can do this too. You know, the ones that stick in your brain with some catchy yet scary reminder to call them when something awful happens. While you may not remember every little detail of the billboard, you understand what you are seeing. You get the message and instantly comprehend it. Sometimes things in real life aren't so clear. For me, lately, day-to-day life has been unusually frustrating. Is it just me, or have you had similar experiences like these? Someone speeds past you in traffic and then cuts you off. You witness a Karen berate a cashier in the grocery store line. The receptionist at the doctor's office is short with you and comes across as annoyed and impatient. You met with that coworker who constantly seems like they are in a bad mood. The kids are continuously fighting. This kind of stuff can get to you. If you let it, it can ruin your entire day. Situations like these are frustrating, annoying, and disruptive. The repetitive message on your own internal billboard could be something like, enough already. Why is everyone so awful? Stephen Covey, the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, coined the following phrase: seek first to understand, then to be understood. Think about those words for a moment. Now, back to my billboard analogy. What if everyone had their own billboard above their head? What if we could look at them, seek to understand, and then instantly know why they acted as they did, then be understood? So here are my billboards of understanding for the frustrating examples I used earlier. The person who cut you off in traffic overslept because they were up all night with a crying baby, and their boss warned them not to be late again or risk being fired. The Karen at the grocery store is grieving over the loss of her husband, and she doesn't know how she's going to do everything alone. The receptionist at the doctor's office is frustrated because she isn't sure that her physician's specialty can help you. She wants to help, but doesn't know if it's worth your time to see another specialist who may not have the answers. The coworker who's always in the bad mood. She takes care of her sister, who has a long-term illness and health insurance won't allow her to be in a care facility, so she works full-time and then goes home to care for someone else. She needs a break and doesn't know how to make that happen. The kids are fighting because, well, kids, but we also tend to forget that even as children, they have stress in their lives, tests at school, pressure to do well at sports, navigating friendships, and absorbing their parents' stress when they feel it. Look, we are all humans with busy lives, and while we can't take the time in every situation to seek to understand everyone, we can try when we feel like something is really impacting us. The receptionist at the doctor's office, true story. I've been taking care of my dad constantly for the last 8 months. His health history shows the amount of tests and hospital stays he has had over this time, with no definite answers. So when I called yet another specialist office, that this person was wary that they could help. I immediately sensed her frustration. So instead of snapping back, which I have done many times in other situations, I asked her a question. How can I help you get the information that you need to make the decision? When I asked her this question, she paused for a long time, like paused for so long that I asked her again. Her response was slower, thoughtful, and detailed. She explained that she was frustrated because she, A, didn't have all the information she needed from my dad, B, she wanted to help, but she didn't know if her office could do that. She didn't want to waste our time again because she knew that we had been down this road before. Our conversation became helpful and productive, and we also had a chance to connect. She apologized for her frustration. It meant more because I understood where she was coming from, and she understood that we needed answers. In this situation, I chose to seek understanding so that I could be understood. Again, not every situation warrants a full explanation. That's why billboards above our heads would be so very helpful. Since this isn't likely to happen anytime soon, perhaps we can choose patience over impatience, or a small smile rather than an eye roll. It makes a huge difference. A few days after the conversation with the receptionist, I saw a friend out while shopping. I was frustrated for another reason and trying my best to fight it. I almost didn't stop and say hello because I knew my mood was not good. But I did stop. And that small conversation with her changed my whole day for the better. In this situation, I'm glad that I didn't have a billboard above my head because she may not have stopped to talk to me. But oh, I am so happy that she did. So, as we cross this latest bridge, what do we want our billboards to say? What is really at the root of the rough spots in our lives? We all have stress and challenges as they are a part of life's journey. So perhaps the more important question is, what do we want to seek to understand so that our days can be more happy, positive, and fulfilled? And also so our challenges seem less challenging. I'm still crossing this particular bridge and will likely walk it for the rest of my days. So that was the billboard. And every time I revisit this piece, it hits me in a new way depending on where I am at a particular moment. And right now, it reminds me of how easy it is to walk around in our own little storm clouds, if you will, letting frustration simmer without ever stopping to consider what others might be carrying. The idea of the billboard is so simple, but it's so powerful. Imagine how different our world might feel if we could see each other's hidden struggles up front. But since we can't, what we can do is slow down, pause, and give each other a little more grace. So that's why I started this podcast, to help us all take a breath and to step back from the noise and the chaos and really reflect on how we're showing up for ourselves and for others. My cat just meowed in the background. She agrees. As we continue these episodes, I hope we'll keep building on this. How can we bridge the gaps between frustration and empathy, disconnection and understanding? So I'd love to hear from you. Maybe you have some stories similar to this, moments where you can explain how you chose to look beyond someone's behavior and found a deeper connection, or maybe even moments where you wish someone had done that for you. So before I go, there's one other thing. If you've made it almost to the end of this podcast, one thing that I would like to share with you towards the end of each episode is a mantra or a positive thought. Our world is so upside down and it's so jumbled. And even though we can't have the billboards that perhaps share how we're feeling so that we're met with understanding, we sometimes feel even more disconnected and like we just don't want to do this and it's hard and we just kind of want to sit down, lay down. And so, my mantra for myself and for you is keep going. Even when we're not sure where that next path will take us, keep going. It's worth it. And so, if we find ourselves with those negative thought patterns, it really does help to keep that in focus and to really remind ourselves that we can control our thoughts more than we realize. So, keep going. And before we meet again, I invite you to pause the next time someone frustrates you. Ask yourself, what might their billboard say today? And if you feel like sharing, go ahead, send me a note, send me a message. I might share your story. I would love to share your story. And if you really like the video blog that I did today, then leave me a like, give me a follow, and I'll see you again, hopefully, for the next episode. Till then, thanks for crossing this bridge with me.